This is a Channel Africa podcast. You can also get Channel Africa on satellite PAS10, DSTV audio bouquet 802, and OpenView bouquet channel 628.
In the rapidly evolving landscape of financial technology, empowering customers through self-education stands out as a transformative strategy. However, the sector faces challenges such as regulatory frameworks struggling to keep pace with technological advancements and the disparity in digital literacy and access among populations. Now, for more on this, we're joined on the line by the Chief Executive Officer of Mukuru, Andy Jury. Good morning, Andy. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Aurelie. Lovely to speak to you. Good morning to your listeners.
Tell us about Mukuru. What is Mukuru and what kind of services do you provide?
Sure. So Mukuru is a next-generation financial services platform for Africa's emerging consumer. So we're really trying to provide appropriate access to financial products and services to people who generally have never touched a formal financial product in their lives. So we try to build the ability for our customers to send, store, or spend. So how can they send money between themselves? How can they store that money digitally and get the benefits that you and I will benefit from, the liquidity and simplicity of digital financial ecosystems? And then how do we enable them to use that money to pay for things, to buy things, etc. And really what we're trying to do is design products and services for the biggest part of the addressable market in Africa. So today still, even in the environment we live in, 65 to 75% of Africans and transactions on the African continent still happen in this over-the-counter, informal, cash-to-cash environment that is unregulated and requires you to be present or the transaction to happen synchronously. So it's a massive opportunity if we can continue to get this right and drive people towards greater degrees of formal financial inclusion and digitization.
Tell us a bit about what the current landscape looks like here in Africa. Have digital transactions increased in recent years?
Sure. So, I can only really speak to our own experience where in the last 3 years, the type of money that people use, bear in mind that digitization is quite a broad field, but if you sort of really measure it in the type of money that they use. So 3 years ago, less than 40% of the transactions through our ecosystem were paid for using digital money. Today, that number is over 60%. So we do see this rapid acceleration and a sort of secular drive towards greater degrees of digitization. But for the broad market out there, the vast majority of people still transact in this over-the-counter cash-to-cash world. And so there's a lot of opportunity that lies ahead for businesses like ourselves, and still a lot of work to do for us to really ensure that everybody gets the benefits of a formal financial services ecosystem. And our approach to that is to not try and make this chasm between, banking your money under your mattress into a formal bank account, which is a sort of massive leap of faith. We try to build access through small incremental changes, ensure that our customers trust our capabilities, because if they trust it, then they are empowered to use it themselves, and ensure that we can, mirror that with, I suppose, formal education process to sort of highlight the benefits of why having a bank account or a wallet or transacting in the formal financial services ecosystem is ultimately a very beneficial thing for potential customers.
How would you say financial service companies on the continent can empower customers to self-educate beyond financial education programs?
Well, I think it's obvious when you think about it, hopefully, but the sort of cornerstone of our approach is to try and put yourselves in the shoes of your customers. So walk in the shoes of your customers, try and look at the products and services that you're trying to provide to them through the eyes of a customer. And if you can educate yourself on what's really important to your customers, what they need and want, then you can design things appropriately. And so what we really try to do is to put the power in the hands of our customers. If they can, learn by doing, so to speak, touch our products and services in a safe environment, have people in their ecosystem who might have used the products before, who they trust, who can help them along the way, then you can get over these hurdles of inertia and really put the power in the hands of the customers. And if somebody trusts your product, if they've got access to it, and they've appropriately either been educated themselves or been provided that knowledge by others, then really the world is their oyster. If I can think back to the trepidation I had in the early 2000s when I used online banking for the first time. You use it by sending a small amount, 10 Rand, 30 Rand, something like that. And once you trust the fundamentals, then the broad spectrum of products and services available to you almost becomes self-explanatory in a way. And so rather than trying to rely on formal education processes, creating these opportunities for people to use it in a sort of fail-safe lower risk environment is ultimately what gets that sort of wave accelerating.
How do successful fintechs balance the need for formal education and organic learning for customers through product usage and engagement?
Yeah, Aurelie, I think it sort of falls back to walking in the shoes of your customers and looking at things through their eyes. And so we think about how do you what language do you use? What use of imagery? Are you going to use words? Are they going to be written or verbal? Is there a person that needs to be involved in that education process? How much do you provide to a customer versus having it accessible and getting them to use? That balancing act is there's no perfect high school answer. It's really about understanding where people are on their journey and trying to provide the optionality. And so at Mukuru, you can use us on an iPhone 14 in the center of Sandton on 5G or on the fastest Wi-Fi. You can also use us on a 2G phone in a dust bowl in northern Malawi on 1 bar of edge. And so being able to have the broad array of access services. So how do you use USSD? How are you using WhatsApp, which most of our customers and most of the continent is very comfortable using? And then how do you drive those digital channels towards greater degrees of engagement and empowerment is something that we spend almost every day thinking about. And it's certainly not a sort of absolute answer that we think we'll get to the goalpost and then give ourselves a big tick. It's a key part of delivering service and the customer experience.
I guess that leads me to my next question, on how you as Mukuru tailor educational strategies for the African market.
Our sort of fundamental tenets are putting power in the hands of customers because knowledge is power. We borrow from the informal networks, and so the informal networks rely quite heavily on word of mouth or trusted sort of networks and ecosystems. And so we will get what we call power users who use our capabilities a lot and create, they will become field ambassadors who are trusted in their circles of influence, who can go out into communities, be they, the foreman on a mine, the captain of a football team, the leader of the church choir, and they can help people understand, they can answer problems. They are sort of, physical representation of Mukuru. And that's been a very, very powerful way for us to spread the word and understanding and drive use and adoption. And so, borrowing from the ecosystems around you, trying to leverage off what works in that environment, but at the same time, bring all the benefits of what a technological platform and solution can provide in terms of speed, affordability, convenience and reach. And so trying to make our products and services as accessible as possible, doing all these things that hopefully every day increase the sort of trust quotient that we have with our customers, and then ensuring that we deliver on our brand promise and we can build products and services that they need and want, as opposed to bright, shiny objects that make us feel good about ourselves.
All right, Andy, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Super. Thanks, Aurelie. Cheerio.
Andy Jury is the Chief Executive Officer of Mukuru.
That podcast was courtesy of Channel Africa, the African Perspective.